घटना जी आपल्या आसपासची बातमी असेल आपणा सर्वांसाठीची. आपण पाहत आहात 7 मराठी न्यूज.
या बातमीपत्राचे प्रायोजक आहेत JK सुपर डिजिटल स्टुडिओ. व्हिडिओग्राफी आणि फोटोग्राफीच्या दुनियेतील एक विश्वसनीय नाव.
भारतीय संशोधनाचे विशेषतः मर्यादित संसाधने वापरून गुंतागुंतीच्या समस्येचे निराकरण करणे, काटकसरीचे नवोन्मेष, तात्पुरते उपाय आणि लवचिकता व वेग यातून अपारंपरिक शोध असतो त्यालाच जुगाड असे संबोधू शकतो, असे मत केम्ब्रिज विद्यापीठातील नेहरू प्रोफेसर ऑफ इंडियन बिझनेस ॲक्ट जज बिझनेस स्कूलचे प्राध्यापक व लेखक जयदीप प्रभू यांनी व्यक्त केले. फ्युल बिझनेस स्कूलच्या वतीने आयोजित कार्यक्रमात केम्ब्रिज युनिव्हर्सिटीचे प्राध्यापक लेखक जयदीप प्रभू लिखित लीन स्पार्क या पुस्तकाच्या प्रकाशनावेळी ते बोलत होते. यावेळी फ्युल ग्रुप ऑफ इन्स्टिट्यूटचे संस्थापक अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर केतन देशपांडे व प्राध्यापक मयुरी देशपांडे ह्या उपस्थित होत्या. प्राध्यापक जयदीप प्रभू म्हणाले, लीन स्पार्कची 4 वैशिष्ट्ये आहेत. लीन अंमलबजावणी महत्त्वाची असून संरचित प्रयोग आणि निरंतर शिक्षण गरजेचे. उद्देशपूर्ण साधेपण असावे ज्यात आवश्यक वैशिष्ट्ये व अनावश्यक गुंतागुंत दूर करणे आणि अनुकूलनक्षम विस्तारक्षमतेत विविध वातावरणामध्ये विकसित होण्यासाठी डिझाईन करणे गरजेचे आहे. तसेच मोठ्या संस्थेसाठी कार्य करताना भरपूर शिकणे, चपळ व्हायला शिकणे, वगळलेले गट समाविष्ट करणे, कर्मचाऱ्यांना प्रयोग करण्यासाठी वेळ आणि संधी देणे, चपळ उद्योजकासह व्यस्त राहणे आणि उदयोन्मुख बाजारपेठेशी संलग्नित होऊन जुगाड करायला शिकण्याची मानसिकता ठेवावी. त्याचप्रमाणे लहान संस्थांनी मोठ्या संस्थांसोबत भागीदारी करायला शिकावे. डॉक्टर केतन देशपांडे म्हणाले, फ्युल संस्था राष्ट्र निर्मितीसाठी कार्य करीत आहे. युवकांच्या या देशात कौशल्यपूर्ण शिक्षणाच्या माध्यमातूनच आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनवण्यास वेळ लागणार नाही. आर्थिक महासत्ता म्हणून उदयास येणाऱ्या भारतात आता संशोधनाला अधिक प्राधान्य द्यावे. सध्या देशाला स्किल बेस्ड युवकांची गरज आहे. या प्रसंगी लेखक जयदीप प्रभू यांनी विद्यार्थ्यांशी संवाद साधताना सल्ला दिला की नेतृत्व गुण, कष्ट, संशोधन आणि कमी खर्चात सामाजिक समस्या सोडवण्यासाठी प्रयत्न करणे. यानंतर विद्यार्थ्यांनी विचारलेल्या प्रश्नांचे समाधान केले. सूत्रसंचालन सान्वी महेश जोगदंड यांनी या विद्यार्थिनींनी केले. याविषयी घेतलेला खास रिपोर्ट आपल्यासाठी. ब्युरो रिपोर्ट 7 मराठी न्यूज, भोगाव.
This urbanization must be sustainable with public transport, clean air, and walkable cities and better livelihoods. India has also shown that scale can make sustainability affordable. Clean growth is no longer a luxury, but it is an opportunity. But growth will not be inclusive unless we create jobs at scale. Services alone cannot absorb India's workforce. We must create a major push to manufacturing, skills, technology, and exports. Eastern India, rural India, women, and first generation learners must be at the center of it. And you all come from very different backgrounds here at Fuel. I'm very happy to tell you that the fire in the belly which you have has been identified by the corporate India as one of the standards for Fuel to deliver the results. Why Fuel becomes successful is because of you who actually have the fire in the belly. The attrition rate of those companies are lesser compared to the hiring channels which are done by others, as a result of which the corporates believe in the idea of Fuel. So you all have a role to play. So this brings me to Atmanirbhar. Atmanirbharta is not a protection term, it's about becoming globally competitive. India must be open but not naive, global but not dependent. Free enterprise must flourish. Government must act as a facilitator and catalyst, and exports must become central to India's growth story. At Fuel, we believe deeply that talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. Our mission is clear: to build future-ready skills, to ensure employability and dignity of work, and to include women and first-generation learners and create that job creators. Dear young friends, this is your movement. A young nation is rising, a reforming economy is expanding, a technological leap is underway, and history will ask us one question: did we prepare our youth in time? At Fuel, our answer is very clear: we will and we must make that difference. So, before we request Professor Jaideep to speak and the anchor speaks, I want to share with you that Cambridge University has been in forefront to give so many prime ministers, Nobel laureates to the world. And Professor Jaideep, I've seen very closely working with so many industries, leaders. He is visiting almost many IIMs, many IITs, many educational institutions and students. And he told me in the car what he's wanting to do is to speak to students. Very easily, the sessions could be given to the corporate leaders, but his idea is also to go and speak to students. And that reminded me, Professor Jerry, when we started Fuel, we didn't have this fancy cars or any this kind of buildings. I went through from public transport to almost 150 colleges and interacted with 3.5 lakh youth. And actually, that made me feel much stronger and my ability to deliver more stronger. So I see that in you now. You are doing that for the youth of India. So happy that you are doing that, and thank you very much for joining us. Over to you.
Technology, they put it into their products to differentiate them. And because the process is expensive, they charge for it. So when I came to India, I saw some of these, of course, in the cities, but I also saw this. So that expensive fridge is $3,000. This clay fridge, Mitti Cool, is about $30. And I'll tell you more about the innovator in a moment. But he comes from a village in Gujarat, and his approach is very frugal. He's using what is available in his village, clay and water, his skills, people in his village. His mindset is very flexible, a lot of improvisation and lateral thinking. And his intention is inclusive. He wants to make a fridge for people like himself in villages. Here's another example. At that price, it is beyond the reach of many clinics in rural areas. They will not be able to afford these machines. Even if somebody gives them the machine as charity, they may not have a technician there to maintain the machine, and they may not have access to regular electricity. In a situation like that, something like this is very useful. That device is $25,000. This baby warmer is about $100. Now, it is not an incubator, doesn't have an oxygen tank, but it is designed to address a large part of the problem that the incubator is addressing, namely the problem of infant mortality. If infants are born 1 or 2 weeks prematurely, they cannot maintain their body temperature. In some cases, they may die, other cases, they may be very badly affected. Very carefully. That baby warmer was not developed by a large company. It was developed by students like you. 4 students who were studying at Stanford University, who were taking a course called Design for Extreme Affordability. The whole point of the course was they had to come up with a working prototype that addresses some problem at 1/100th the cost of the existing solution. They could choose any problem. These students chose this problem of infant mortality. They designed a prototype for that course. After they graduated from Stanford, they tested it with mothers and midwives in rural India. They got venture capital support from Stanford. They tested it in the hospital. They were ready to commercialize it, but at that point, they didn't have a sales force to commercialize it.
तुझा
for giving us your precious time and so many valuable insights. My name is Shruti Chatterjee, and as Sir said, I come from the state of Jharkhand and from a farmer family with a very low income. And achieving the scholarship study process and all, which I think was never possible because of the low income of my family and all the family conditions as well. Because I come from a small village where women empowerment is considered as a taboo, that we should not educate women, they are meant for kitchens only. So yeah, I'm very thankful to Fuel as well. So my question to you is, as you said that if we have idea of frugal innovations, then we should work with what we have, then we can approach large corporations. But my question is like, how do you think large corporations will adapt to our idea given that they already have their existing processes or structures?
Inspiring. And also your question, it's a very good question. It's a really, really good question. So, first of all, when you start something yourself, you don't have to partner with a large organization. There are many examples of startups that actually grow very fast on their own, and we have some examples in the book as well of Indian startups, including some student startups. So I think one of the first chapter is about the student from Ashoka University who started a drone-based company. And initially, they were thinking that they would use the drone to film, to basically map mines and farms and give, and that was very hard for them to do. They were not able to succeed there. And then they pivoted, as they say, they pivoted to using the drones to map the cricket field during a match. And now they provide all that kind of input to the TV companies that show cricket matches. So they have scaled on their own without partnering with a large company. But in some sectors, in many sectors, the startups actually start up knowing that at some point they would like to be bought by a large company. And so that's their end game. So they're thinking long term. They'll come up with a solution up to a point, make it successful up to a point, and then be acquired by a large company. Now, that benefits both the large company and the small startup because the large companies often struggle to do this kind of jugaad innovation, fast and frugal, because they have processes and structures. They're very slow to experiment. The startups are very good at doing jugaad, but they don't have the resources to scale, as we said. Large companies have the resources to scale. So sometimes that can be a very good partnership. Like the students who had the baby warmer when they partnered with GE Healthcare, that was a very good partnership for both sides. The problems that occur are exactly what you said, because the startup has got to a point by being very flexible, not so structured, etc. But then they're entering a big company that is very structured and has a lot of processes. So sometimes that can slow down the idea in the large company. So what sometimes companies do is they keep that startup kind of separate so that it can retain its culture, its processes and its structures and just inject the resources into it. Cash or the brand or the design or whatever is needed to scale it. But this is a very good question. Excellent.
Execution. Speed or perfection?
Speed.
Speed. Big funding or small startup?
Small startup.
Innovation in one word.
Jugaad.
That's what I wanted to ask you this question. Whenever I used to say, my professor has written a book on Jugaad innovation. Thanks that you wrote other books also. So now I start using frugal innovation. But then the Jugaad, they say that this was like an Indian word and very difficult to understand. Sometimes it looks like in a grey shade also. So how do you define this in terms of industry? Any mantra for students on Jugaad?
So, as I told you, when we ask people how they describe the frugal, flexible, inclusive approach, they use the word jugaad. So we use the word jugaad. If it's how they see it, then that's the word. So That's why we called the book Jugaad Innovation. But then there were a lot of people who got very upset with us for using that word, because they said that is actually what is bad about India. That is what is holding India back. And of course, they had some good reasons. They felt that it's short term, it's a quick fix, it's sometimes unethical, low standards, low quality. So that is true, but there are also some good things about Jugaad. It is making do, not waiting till you have the perfect resources or the situation. It is quick problem solving, using what resources you have. It's using your brain, your resourcefulness, your ingenuity. Uh, and of course, it can be like any tool, can be used for good or bad. Right? So their intention is very important. And that's why in this book we're saying it's the intentionality that when you are starting on any journey, when you're trying to solve some problem, you have to think a bit long term. You can come up with a quick fix, but will it last long? Right? And if your goal is to scale and for it to be sustainable, then you have to think about not only the quick fix but also what is the long term solution. So, if you want, for instance, if you are introducing a digital ID like Aadhaar and you want it to be for 1.4 billion people, you know that if you think back, you realize it cannot be expensive because many of those people will not be able to afford to pay for it. So, of course, then maybe it has to be free. So if it's free, then the government has to do it very frugally because the government does not have unlimited budgets. So you from the beginning are thinking about how should it be frugal, affordable, so that it can scale. So then it has to be simple. So one of the things that they insisted on was that we only collect a few data points. If the more data points we collect, the more cost and more time it will take. Then they also realized that uh, they can't do all the enrollment themselves because that would be very expensive and it will take time. So it's a network. We'll get other people to do the enrollment. We'll get the banks to do the enrollment. So then you'll get many more people doing the work and it'll go faster. And because you have scale, the price will go down also. So this kind of long-term thinking is very important. You can call it jugaad, you can call it frugal, you can call it lean spark. It doesn't matter what you call it. The principle is it has to be affordable, it has to be long-term, it has to be inclusive. Those are the main principles.
Very interesting. And if student has to start,
I'm Jaideep Prabhu. I am a professor of marketing and the Nehru Professor of Indian Business at Judge Business School, University of Cambridge. It is a great pleasure to be here at Fuel in Pune. I have known Ketan Deshpande for many years and watched him develop this amazing institution from scratch. And it is so inspiring for me to be here to see how this institution is evolving, to meet the students, the staff, and the faculty. It is also a great day today because they have now become a university. I wish Ketan and the team here at Fuel and the students all the best of luck for the future and for a wonderful process of evolution from here into the future.
thank you. हिंदी में
बोलना चाहता हूँ ये इस किताब का नाम है लीन स्पार्क फ्रूगल बाय डिज़ाइन ग्लोबल इन इम्पैक्ट और लीन स्पार्क का मतलब है जुगाड़ जिसे हिंदी में कहते हैं लोग जिसके पास बहुत कम है वो कैसे तरीके निकालते हैं प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं बिजनेसेस बनाते हैं इस किताब में हमने कई सारे केसेस को रिसर्च किया लोगों से बात की हमने इंटरव्यूज़ बहुत हैं इसमें स्टार्टअप्स के साथ और बड़े कंपनीज के साथ भी कई सेक्टर्स में यहाँ पे आपको मिलेगा केसेस ड्रोन्स के बारे में इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स के बारे में एजुकेशन के बारे में कल्चर के बारे में किताब में हमने इसरो के बारे में लिखी है एआई के बारे में आधार और डीपीआई के बारे में भी लिखी हमने तो हम मेरी उम्मीद है कि लोग इसको पढ़ के अप्लाई करेंगे अपने करियर्स में, अपने बिजनेसेस में, गवर्नमेंट में भी अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। तो ये कहना चाहता हूँ मैं इस किताब के बारे में।
सो इंग्लिश के साथ और कौन से लैंग्वेज में इसका ट्रांसलेशन होने वाला है?
हाँ, तो अभी तो सिर्फ इंग्लिश में है, लेकिन हम चाहते हैं कि इसको हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट कर दिया जाए, मराठी में, पंजाबी में, तेलुगु में, कन्नड़ा में। मेरी पहली किताब जो है जुगाड़ इनोवेशन, उसकी सिर्फ एक लैंग्वेज में ट्रांसलेशन हुई है इंडिया में, और आप गेस कर सकते हैं कौन से लैंग्वेज में? मराठी। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि ये भी मराठी में ट्रांसलेट हो जाए।
नमस्कार, माझं नाव डॉक्टर केतन देशपांडे. मी संस्थापक अध्यक्ष फ्युएल. आपल्याला सगळ्यांनाच माहिती आहे की फ्युएल ही संस्था विद्यार्थ्यांसाठी स्किल डेव्हलपमेंट आणि स्कॉलरशिपवर काम करते. आज आमच्याकडे प्रोफेसर जयदीप प्रभू, जे नेहरू प्रोफेसर आहेत युनिव्हर्सिटी ऑफ केम्ब्रिजमध्ये जज बिझनेस स्कूलमध्ये, जिथे मी पण शिकलो, ते आज आमच्याकडे आले होते आणि त्यांनी त्यांच्या लीन स्पार्क बुकबद्दल विद्यार्थ्यांना मार्गदर्शन दिलं आणि त्यात विद्यार्थ्यांनी कशी ग्रोथ करायला पाहिजे या संदर्भात सखोल मार्गदर्शन आज मिळालं. तसेच आम्ही जे भविष्यात स्किल टेक युनिव्हर्सिटी केली आहे फ्युएलची, त्याच्याबरोबर वेगवेगळे नवीन प्रोग्राम्स कसे करायचे, कसं मार्गदर्शन करायचं या बाबतीतही जयदीप प्रभू सरांनी आज आम्हाला सखोल माहिती दिली. त्यांचं जे पुस्तक आहे लीन स्पार्क, हे खरोखरच विद्यार्थ्यांना कशा रीतीने आयुष्यात पुढे जाता येईल, वेगवेगळे उदाहरणं देऊन छोटं इनोव्हेशन केलं तरी ग्रासरूटपर्यंत कसं पोहोचता येईल हे यामध्ये सांगितलं आहे.